Hello and welcome to the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hello, my name's Rebecca, I'm the Creabea, and this is a vlog or a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on, and what I'd like to cast on in the not too distant future. I've got some really fun things today, but hopefully not too long an episode. I'm not hoping for a short episode, but I just think, yeah, there's some fun and exciting things. But I don't have any pattern releases, I don't have any test calls, I don't have any giveaway winners, I don't have any merchandise. Like, there's nothing happening today other than just a plain old simple update, which I'm actually really excited about. I've been slowly but surely trying to turn this little space in my office into a little podcasting corner, and we're getting there. There's shelving right here. These are the struts that sort of like hold up the shelves, so I think I want some maybe like pom-poms or something to like to hang down and decorate, but we're getting there. However, I started filming and I realised that I had no swatches on this side, so I just stole them all off you. So my head will just cover the middle one until I've got some more swatches to put up, which I will have at the end of this episode because we've got some swatches to discuss. So, let's start with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Lusk tee. This is a pattern that came out earlier this summer. It is a top-down top-down drop shoulder t-shirt at a 17 stitch gauge, which is just my dreamy, perfect DK weight summer gauge. What you can't see is I'm also wearing a pair of striped trousers, so I overall look a bit ridiculous, but what from you can see, you can just see my lovely t-shirt, so it's fine. This is knit in Filcolana Merci, held double, which is a wool cotton blend from Filcolana. Superwash actually, which is not usually my jam, but I quite like this, and it's probably one of my favourite knits of the summer. A bit of an unexpected hit. I finished all my Lusk samples and this one came late. I sized up, so it's 110 centimetres, and today I was like, oh, I'm a little bit bloated, I'm not feeling super, I feel okay, I'm feeling a bit tired, and I was like, I just want something comfy, and that's what I put on. So that's always a nice feeling. I really want to be wearing sweaters already, but it's still warm. I'm trying to remind myself not to wish away the summer, because when it gets dark at 4 PM and it's freezing cold, I will regret wishing it away, but for right now I'm ready for that like chill in the air. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, I think that's just a knitter thing. I don't think you can be a knitter and not enjoy cold weather. If you're a knitter who does not enjoy cold weather, let me know. So what do I have today? I have just the one finished object. I actually technically have two, because the second one is actually what the camera is up on top of, which is a sample for a publication, which comes out early next year. And my sample's all done and ready to be boxed off. So I had to finish off the sewn, I did a sewn hem, a sewn bind off, and I never do a sewn bind off, so you know it's fancy when I do a sewn bind off. So that's being picked up on Monday, and so currently it's where you are, but I can't show it to you because it's top secret until whenever it comes out, which I think is next year. But I have another finished object. I've got 5 works in progress, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I've had an obscene amount of yarn arrive in this house in the past 2 weeks. I'm not going to go through all of it because I don't think I want to face how much I've purchased, but I do have a couple of fun bits to talk about. And it's all been woolly wool, and it's pretty much all been like brown, green, or brown or green. So let's start with my finished object. So this is my Kintra scarf. So I released a pattern called Kintra in February of this year, and it's not really an advent project, but it does hold up to 24 colours in the yoke. So as much as I designed it to be an anything project, I also designed it with, like, if you want to use an advent, you're very welcome to, and it would work really well with an advent. And I'm probably, like a normal person, I probably should have waited and like held it off and released it in November, but I just wanted it out straight away. But it's kind of in my mind that this November I would release a few accessory patterns to go alongside it. And every year I release a charity pattern, and all the proceeds from that go to the Fistula Foundation. So I'm working on my charity patterns, and the first one is a Kintra scarf. I think there will be 3, but maybe 4 Kintra patterns. And I think there'll be a bundle price, so like if you get them all you can, you're very welcome to. And this is a scarf. Now I will say I finished the scarf and I've already decided that I am changing the shape of the final scarf, but that's okay because the rest of it works. So this is my Kintra scarf. It's doubled up, and it is worked all over in 1x1 colour work. with an I-cord edge, and it's worked flat, which I was really nervous about, and I actually, oh, I've sewn an end and not snipped it. I was nervous about doing all over 1x1 colour work because I once took a class on colour work flat and I hated it, but whether I've improved as a knitter or whether it was just starting over with a much easier project that changed my mind, I really, really enjoyed this project and I would jump into it again, and I would not at all be put off by the 1x1 colour work. So this size, I think the plan is, so if you can see here, there are kind of 3 repeats, one of each colour, and so I think the pattern will come with 3 sizes, one with 2 repeats, so being really like a little small scarflet, the 3 in the middle, and then one with 4 repeats, so it's even bigger. And this has 24, like this holds 24 colours. I've just only used 4 colours and done each of them 6 times. It knit up so quickly, it was honestly so much fun. I honestly think this probably took me like 12 hours or something. I never really track projects based on how long they take me, but it really, really was a quick knit, which I feel like I'm not really used to at the moment. I feel like I am used to bigger projects that take me quite a long time, so it was quite refreshing. The thing I'm going to change is that I made it into like, I increased at both ends so it gets biggest in the middle, and then I started decreasing at both ends, and that's just not a very useful shape for a scarf, which I should have realised by the fact that no scarf's in that shape. I should have trusted the many, many shawl knitters that came before me that make triangle scarves. The problem really is that, I mean, it would kind of go like around my neck quite nicely. Like that's a great way to wear it because there's a widest part here, but as soon as it comes down onto your neck, the joy of a triangle is that the flat part lies against your back of your neck, and then you have some extra fabric. Whereas with this, you have extra fabric that both goes up your neck and down your neck. So I'm going to change the construction, but that's okay because I've got a second one planned, and I'm happy to go ahead and start writing up the pattern. And then I don't think it'll take me about, like, it's not going to go into testing until, I can't remember when. It's like a 6-week test, and it's going to come out in November, so I'm thinking in my head thinking, does that mean it has to be done by September, which is actually next month? Yes. And I still have 2 more patterns to write? Yes. But that's okay. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I still will wear this one. I've got an all black winter coat, and I feel like I did not wear a very good t-shirt to show this off because I'm currently just, this is a lot of colour going on. But I will still wear this, and I think that, like, yeah, it's just going to be really fun, just like a fun little scarflet. And I love the fact that the back is also kind of fun and quirky. It's just colour work banding. So that is a Kintra scarf. I'm torn on my next option, so I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because I've got an acquisition. It's a very crinkly bag. So I did something I rarely do and order a mini skein set from Tiny, what's it called again? I've forgotten this. Tiny Human Knits. I was like, it's not Tiny Hands, that's weird. Tiny Human Knits. And she just makes wonderful, wonderful colours. So these are completely out of order, and I'm going to see if I can somehow get them back in order, even though I don't really know what order they were in. She makes beautiful colours, and I am a big fan, and I've followed her on Instagram for quite a long time. She had a really lovely collection called like the Scrappy Blanket set of colours. This set is called Fireside Flannel. So I don't know if I would not have enough yarn to make the biggest size, but I would have yarn to make the smaller size, and that might also be the most efficient thing to do with the new construction. Technically they go this way. They're very Christmassy. And I thought I could use a grey, like a mid grey as a background colour. These two are quite different, but they honestly look pretty similar, so I would be tempted to drop out one of those. And then that would be 10 colours. So I could do 10 colours and then like repeat a couple. Or you know what I might do? I might just start working the repeat with like 2 stripes of each colour until I get halfway and see how much yarn it uses, because these are only 10 gram minis, so there's a it's not gonna use up all my yarn, but I want to try and use as much as possible. I guess it goes that way. I feel like in talking about this, my other option was I was going to make a monocolour one, and honestly I might still make the large in a monocolour. I bought some Drops Air, which was a rogue choice, but I thought it'd be really nice and fluffy. I was thinking, if I want a big giant scarf but I still want to be on gauge, what colour would I use and what yarn would I use, and I thought Drops Air would be a good example. So yeah, oh, but that's it. These are 4 ply, so I will have to hold these double. So I actually only have 5 grams of each, which I think is still enough based on my first size, but I probably not enough to double stripe the whole thing. They're all just falling around now. So there we go. Cool. that is a bit of an acquisition then. And I don't have the background colour I would use for this. Although I really should have something in... Oh, maybe I do. Probably not enough though. Thinking out loud what yarns I have. Anyway. So yeah. That's the Kintra scarf. And it's really fun. Sorry, there's a bit of like... There's a point where I got my... It took me a while to realise that it's dramatically easier, like, and I'll give this instruction in the pattern, but like catching the floats works really well if you hold a certain colour, and like your main colour and your left and your contrast and your right, I think. But I kept falling into that rhythm, but not realising that it was easier that way, and I got myself in a tangle, and I was like, how did I get in this tangle again? And I realised about a third of the way through the scarf, so that's good, that's in the pattern. But there are some places where I didn't realise, and so my colour dominance is a little off, so I've got like a very dark sort of splodgy ink blot of blue there. But for the most part it's pretty even. So yeah, that's the Kintra scarf, Kintra shawl. I'm not entirely sure which to call it, to be honest. Needs a bit of a revamp in terms of, it's just gonna, right now it goes like this, and instead I think I want it to go like that. I think quite focus on that quite hard there. There are two more patterns, definitely two more patterns coming. One is a bag, which I'm very excited about. I think like my next cast on. And one is a hot water bottle cover. And because I was jazzing up my little space in here, I had these real ugly pillows. They're not ugly, they're just really plain. And I was thinking I might knit a pillow cover for these instead, because this is just a zip cover and inside is just a plain pillow. And I put these up on like my local like for free collection when no one wanted them. Sad. There's nothing wrong with them, they're just not that cute. And I put my knitted blanket on the back of the sofa, so I thought I could knit some pillow covers, and that could be a fun little addition to this little corner. So there might also be a Kintra pillow cover, but I feel like I have a lot going on right now on my needles, so maybe that's not happening. But I have the whole construction already planned in my head, so maybe it is. Sometimes I get like this and I have to just remind myself to take a breath. So that's my only finished object this week. I'm glad it's off my needles, and I'm annoyed at myself because I know I want to make some changes, but at the same time I am confident with the way it's going, which is good. And they're very logical. I don't think I would have, like, I probably should have clocked that it wouldn't have really worked construction wise that way, but I just didn't think about it. Okay, let's jump into my work in progress. So I think there are 3 of them which are you've seen before, and 1 of them is new. No, 2 of them are new. So let's start with my Firth. It is in my little grey girl bag, which is covered in books. I do love this project bag. It's so nice and colourful, but also like subtle. And I love that it goes with everything. So the yarn I'm using for this is Sunday Fibre Company True Colours. I bought this in a pre-order last year. I don't often buy hand-dyed yarn, and I'm showing you a project with hand-dyed yarn and mini skein of hand-dyed yarn, but it's not really my typical, I usually use commercial. That being said, I bought this last year and I absolutely do not regret it. It's been beautiful to work up. Now I can't contest how it wears yet, but yeah, it's glorious. I think the colour was True Blue, or like, I can't remember, I think it had a better name than that, but I can't remember what it was. So this is the 4-ply. It's so saturated. It's a little more saturated on screen than in real life, but then also it's not. I look at the project and I'm like, no, that is the right colour. And then this is the mohair. So they obviously are like a perfect match. And I remember I was really on the fence about whether to get the red or the blue, and I went the blue, and then it sat and stashed for quite a long time. I think it was just waiting for me to get to the place where I was ready to knit this project. So my next pattern that's coming out is in September, so like next month. Actually, 4 weeks today. It's the very first weekend of September. And it is called the Firth sweater, and it's probably I can show it to you fairly well. This is what it looks like. So it is a set in sleeve top down pattern, and it has some detail, which is that under the arms it has this really interesting ribbing shaping, so the shaping kind of grows out of the armhole. I'll put a picture here of the first sample because I've got a sample that I've already knit up, and this is my second sample. And yeah, you can see it kind of like grows out from there, and then it's got deep ribbing on the body and deep ribbing on the sleeves. It is set in sleeves, so it's a really, really lovely fit, and I think that's the thing that has shone through very evidently in the test knit. Like sometimes test knits are like, oh, this is so fun to knit, or like, oh, I really learned something in this test, or I just love the look of this finished garment. This one was like, wow, this fit is so good. And that's always nice to have, and that's really a testament to my incredible tech editor, because she did the grading on this pattern, and this pattern also has bust shaping, and she wrote all the bust shaping. So the pattern is 4-ply and DK, so both my samples are the DK weight samples, and it's fully size inclusive, and it also has bust shaping options for a D cup or an F cup. I'm not busty. The way that bust shaping works, if you've not done bust shaping before, is you take 2 measurements, you take your upper bust and your full bust, and actually this is really like the standard way that like bra cup measuring is done, is like the difference between those is then your cup size. So if you have less than 5 centimeters, which is 2 inches, between your upper bust and your full bust, you don't need bust shaping, you're a B cup. I don't need bust shaping. If you have more than 5 centimeters, then you need bust shaping, or you can opt to add bust shaping. And bust shaping just adds like an extra bit of fabric to the front, which stops. Otherwise, if you have a lot of boobs, they fill up the pattern, and then the fabric, and then the bottom of it rises up, and so you end up with like a high-low hem. And so what this does is like, instead of the front rises up, so you add more fabric, and then the front comes down, and it fits better over the boob. That's what bust shaping is. The other thing that I've done with this sample, which I don't think has really popped in the same way as it has on my inspiration, is I added a welt around the neckline, and I've put this in the pattern. You can kind of see it, but it's very fluffy, so I feel like it's not popping quite so well. One of the testers, who is also a recent addition to Knit Night, which is lovely, was like, oh, do you mind if I do this modification? And I was like, no, go for it. And then I was like, that looks so good, I'm adding it to the pattern because I want it on my second sample. So it's got this fun little welt, which is really just an easy optional add-on. It's very easy to work. So yeah, it's looking good. I will be perfectly honest and tell you I've been excited about other projects, and so this has not quite had the love it needs, and I'm now thinking about it, thinking this needs to be done by the end of the month, and it is the 9th of the month, and I still have to knit the rest of the body and 2 sleeves, so this should take priority this week. I should get the body done. It's currently Saturday. I think that'll work as well because I've got quite a lot coming up this week. I've got shows to go to and some travelling to do. So I'll take this as my like primary project for all that this week, and that'll be fine. If I can get the body done by like midweek and a sleeve done this week, or like a sleeve most of the way done this week, I can get the second sleeve done the week after. We're taking pictures at the end of the month, and I'm very excited. I think it's going to be the biggest photo shoot we've done yet. And even Jasmine, who's my wonderful photographer, was in the test knit this time. So I think they're going to be like 8+ of us for this one. Which is going to be a big group, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, that is mine, and I think this colour is going to look really nice, both for like the summer into autumn and then again in the spring. I feel like I'm looking especially pale today. I don't know if it's because of the backlighting and it's very yellow, but I feel like I'm slowly but surely embracing the colours that suit me, which are not always the colours I like wearing, I should admit, but blue, I'm not really a blue person, unlike knitters I know. But I feel like this is going to be a good colour for me. It's going to suit me a lot. So I'm a convert to, I can't remember her name, but I'm definitely a convert to Sunday Fibre Co yarn, and I would buy from them again if they had another colour update, like another solid colour update. There was just one for Wes Anderson's, I think it was the Grand Budapest Hotel, and I almost regret not buying some in that, even though I hadn't knit with this yet. But I'll be keeping an eye out on her future updates. So yeah, that's really fun. It's a set and sleeve. I just feel like this is my year of set and sleeves because I just think they fit so well. And I think this pattern will just be like such a good staple. It's going to fit really well because of the set and sleeves and the shaping if you want it, and then the fitted sleeves. Like, it looks like a bit of a shop bought sweater, which I think sometimes is quite nice. I feel like there are knitters who want to knit things that you would never be able to buy. I think there are knitters who want to knit things that you could get in a shop, and I think I fall into the latter category. Okay, my second work in progress is the one that has gotten all my enthusiasm. I am obsessed with this. I want it done, and then I want it to not be 20 degrees so that I can wear it. Maybe I'll like, that's not gonna happen. I was like, maybe I'll like go out at like 5 in the morning just so I can wear my sweater. I am not doing that because I like sleeping too much. So I'm working on a pattern. So all my patterns for so Firth comes out September, and then October there's like a very early October and a very late October pattern. So that is I Afric is the first one, which is a colourwork sweater, and then Creole is a massive cable knit pattern with a sweater, a cardigan and 2 vests. So that is big. So I'm currently already working on designs that will be after the Christmas break, and in November I've got my charity patterns. So this is probably my January pattern, and it is again a mega pattern. It's going to be huge. I'm looking forward to that though. I think it's going to be good. I'm going to grab the first sample though, because I think it'll be helpful to show you that one if I can work out which shelf I put it on. So this is called Insh, I-N-S-H, and it is a saddle shoulder pattern. And there are 2 neckline options. So this is the Henley, and my second sample is a Henley, and it's also got a round neck option. So, oh, and it also comes in both half fisherman's rib and stockinette. So this is what it is looking like. It is just, oh, I love this thing so much. I think I've confirmed, I mentioned this last time, that I think the neckline is a little too high, so I'm just going to drop it back by a few centimetres, or not even a few centimetres, like 1.5 centimetres, just because I think it's catching under my chin, and like it's just catching a little. And I'll put some buttons on. So that is the first sample that I finished. And so the second one that I'm working on is the stockinette version. And I thought I would add stripes, and oh my goodness. I wasn't like, I was into it, and then I blocked it. And this drape on this fabric is incredible. So the first one is knit in Laxtons Sheepsoft, held single. This one, I decided I wanted a really dense fabric because I thought it would keep me warmer. And I've added a strand of alpaca. Now I will say it's not a particularly fun gauge to work at. Like I feel like I'm using too thick of a yarn for too narrow a needle, but the fabric is lovely. So I'm not too mad about it. So this is my striped version. I'm doing a terrible job of holding things up today. Okay, so there's the body, and then here's the sleeve. So I decided to start the stripes after I finished all the shaping. I thought that would just make my life a little bit easier. So there is some short rows both at the back, and there's some shaping around the neckline, and so the stripes just start like once all that is out of the way. And the same with the top of the sleeve, there's a sleeve cap, and so I knit the sleeve cap and then started the stripes. I've just gone for a single lower neckline. Part of me is wondering if I should have like still done a double folded neckband, like still done it at the same depth, which is 4 centimetres, but doubled it over and then sewed it down. But I think this is going to be good. A few things. So first things first, oh, I also deepened the v-neck, and I'm going to add instructions to the pattern about how you can make it deeper if you want to. And I did that with this one. First things first is I forgot to add buttonholes. It was quite good because I knit the first sample, and then I wrote up all the instructions, and now I'm like following my instructions for the second sample. And what I discovered is that I wrote the buttonholes to go onto the second. Like when I knit a cardigan, I usually like to knit this, if I like a round neck cardigan, I like to knit the side of the button band with no buttonholes, and then the side of the button band with the buttonholes. That's my preferred route. The issue with that is that for the Henley, right at the base of the Henley here, those fabrics obviously overlap, so you're picking up stitches in the same place. You're picking up the front stitches and the back stitches. Now I find it's easier to pick up the front ones and work this side first, and then pick up behind it, mostly because I think it's not quite as neat picking them up again. And I think it's good if you do that second time around, because then it's tucked to the back. So if there are any mistakes, or like it doesn't look quite as neat, you can't see it because it's tucked inside here. So that is my logic. However, if the buttonholes were there, then my buttons would, like, this piece of fabric has to lie on the top. So the buttonholes had to be on this piece, and I hadn't knit it yet. So I think I'm going to do some afterthought buttonholes, which I've not done before. That'll be fun. It says only a knitter, really, but I'm looking forward to it to try it. I found a good tutorial which uses a crochet hook. And the second thing is I knit the sleeve cap so big, and I really had a bit of a panic about it. So the sleeve cap is now looking very, you can't really tell, but you can kind of tell up close, it's looking pretty mangled. So it's a set-in sleeve again. So it's a saddle, but like I think you've seen saddles that are a bit like, Ozetta's got like the lakes pullover, so the saddles are actually coming all the way down here. This is not that. Like the saddles really, like they really end at like the top of your sleeve, or like a little bit, this one's a little bit oversized looking, so like a little bit over. And so because it ends there, you can't just have straight sleeves, because then they will not be, like you need them to go, you need fabric to go like round the top of your arm cuff, and so that's where sleeve shaping comes in. And so you work from here to like here, flat and short rows, and then you knit the rest of the sleeve. And that worked really well on my first one, and I don't know what I did. I think I just tuned out when I was doing the sleeve shaping, and so I finished the whole sleeve and I tried it on, and it looked like I'd sewn shoulder pads into the sweater. It looked ridiculous, but like in the wrong place. So here I just had this like, it was just sticking out at like a funny angle, like right here, and I could not for the life of me work out what I'd done until I realised I had 12 rows too many, which is like 5 centimetres too much fabric at the end of the sleeve. And so it was just like, and then my sleeve was going down, and I was a bit desolate about it and didn't really know what to do. So I did what everyone does. I blocked it, and I was like, I'll just block it out. Of course I could not block it out. At this point I really could not work out what I'd done, and then it was fairly obvious to me that it was in fact just a sleeve cap issue, and so there were in fact far too many rows there. And I think on the row gauge 12 rows is not quite 5 centimetres, but it's about that, so it was a lot of fabric. But I'd knit the entire sleeve. So I did something new to me for the first time, and so I cut the sleeve in this white stripe. I ripped back, I repicked up the stitches, I reworked the sleeve, and then I grafted it back together. And honestly, it's a little tiny bit scruffy under the arm, which again, it's not been blocked yet, so that could be a contender. And it's not like superbly neat, but my stitches aren't twisted. Like, I just think that white stripe just looks a little bit messy if you compare it to like the one neck. Like this one just looks a little bit messier. And this is all yarn that I ripped out, and then I just used the same yarn again. So that again I'll just be blocked. But it was actually really easy. So that's a bit of, I don't know, a bit reassuring, I guess, to know that I could do that and it wasn't the end of the world. I really was like, oh my god, I didn't remember this whole sleeve. I did not. So that was nice. And also, because the sleeve cap was way too long, my sleeve was huge. Like my sleeve was like coming down to like over my knuckles. And I was like, how is this happening? Like, why is it so long? And then I tried it on, it's actually perfect. So that's good. So I quickly worked my second sleeve cap before I could make a second issue, and I'm now here, and I've got some work. Today's a busy day. This week has been a busy week. I've got a lot to do administratively. It is tax season. Well, it's not really tax season, it's tax season every quarter, but it's tax time. So I need to do some taxes for my accountant, and I do what I always do, and I don't do any of the work until the week before it's due. Because I hate doing it. And then the week before it's due I panic and do all of it. It's funny because the rest of my, like, for someone who I'm currently talking about patterns that are coming out like January, February, March 2026, and yet I'm behind on like this month's work. Anyway, that's not related. So I need to finish the podcast and edit this, and I need to do some tax work. And then my plan for the evening is just to sit and knit on this because I really want this sleeve to be done. And I think I'm in pretty good shape. So I've done the second, I'm about to do the second stripe, third stripe, there are 9 stripes. So I'm already about a third of the way through the sleeve. And I'd love for this to be done today or tomorrow and on my blocking mats by Monday. Because that just be something off my needles, and because I want to start wearing this even though it's not really whether to wear it yet. I did it every single year. And I did this before I was a knitter, because I remember doing this when I lived in London, when I first moved to London, and I knit but I wasn't really knitting sweaters. It would be like the 1st of September and I'd be wearing like a woolly jumper and like a dress and tights, and I'd be sweating all day. But I was adamant, it's September, it's time to wear this, it's time for sweaters. So it'd be nice to finish it by then. And we've also got not really anything, we might be going away for a couple of days at the start of September to the Highlands, and it'd be nice to have a cosy sweater for that. Although I'm not sure this is the sweater because I'll probably have 5 more sweaters on. So yeah, it's glorious. It is heavy, I will say it is really heavy, I think because I added a strand of alpaca. So I'm using, it's on my Stick of Feber bag, and all the rest of my bags are, oh that's not true, most of the rest of my bags are from Stick of Feber. So I'm using Laxtons Sheepsoft and then a strand of Filcolana alpaca, and it's lovely. It's super dense. I made gauge with just 1 strand held single, but I also had the alpaca, and I was like, oh, like if I want this to be like a real like heavy cozy outerwear, I could just add that alpaca to it. So that's exactly what I did. And I think what I'm going to do is I have a pattern for next summer, which is again the same gauge as this, which also has a little Henley neckline, and I think I'll make a long sleeve version in the leftovers of this yarn, because when I ordered I didn't know how my striping was going to go, so I think I ordered the same amount of white and blue, the white and the navy. And of course I went navy main colour, but I think I'll make a sample of that one at this looser gauge with these 2 yarns held together, because again I've got lots of both the alpaca and the main colour left, and it won't use because I think I might have, I just want another ball of the white, so I've got this much white left, and I've got another ball left, and then I've got 3 full skeins, which is like 750 meters, and I reckon I won't even use half of this, so I think I'll end up with maybe like 900 to 950 meters left of the main colour, plus like 2 skeins of blue, so I'll have enough to do a long sleeve sweater at like a toaster gauge. I won't cast it on for a while, mostly because it's with my grader and I don't want to do the maths to make it the next size. I knit at a t-shirt gauge, which in me is usually, my t-shirts usually have less positive ease than my sweaters do, and I'll just wait until my wonderful Taynish grader has done the maths and then I will knit the next size up and add long sleeves to it. So that is that. Really enjoying this one. It was an interesting process and like it was fun to sort of weasel my way through, but I'm also excited about, I'm now just very excited about the product, and I've been consuming a lot of media, which I find like I'm in a real media place at the minute. I think I'm kind of like reading a book a week, and I'm listening to a lot of podcasts, and I'm watching a lot of TV shows, and I'm watching a lot of YouTube video essays, but all of that has been very like knitting friendly, especially stockinette friendly, so getting there with this one. And hopefully, I mean definitely that'll be a finished object next time I see you. I'm actually, this is off topic, but next Friday I'm starting to ramp up my YouTube filming schedule again. So over the summer I've been attempting to film every 2 weeks and honestly struggling with it a little bit, but I find that I'm saying this out loud and suddenly realising I'm going to struggle with filming. It's okay. I will be adding a middle, so like right now I do a podcast every single 2 weeks, and I'm going to be adding an extra topic in between those 2 weeks, so there'll be a weekly video. And so next Friday, oh no, it's gonna be hot. I was gonna say next Friday there's a new yarn shop opening in Edinburgh, and so I will be filming a whole tour of all of the yarn shops in Edinburgh. There are 3 existing and then the 1 new one, and that'll be coming out next week. And I thought, oh, if I can get this finished I could wear my new sweater, but it looks like it's gonna be 21 degrees, which I think will be too warm for this. Maybe I'll wear like a white t-shirt and like drape it over my shoulders and look very chic. Maybe. As I'm saying it, I'm realising we've got guests staying most of August and all the rest of September, so maybe I'll have to do some early filming. But it's exciting. I'm working on a video essay, a sort of once a month series of like something interesting. I think the first one's going to be on Elizabeth Zimmerman. They won't be very long. I think they'll be maybe like 30 minutes with some interesting content that might be fun to like sit and knit with. And then I've got some knitting content around things like our next knit yarn swap is coming up at the start of September, so I need to clear all my yarn and decide what I'm donating, what I'm keeping, so we'll try and vlog some of that. I also will at some point this winter be doing a sweater cull, taking some of my sweaters to knit night, giving some to my mum and my sisters, maybe listing some of them online for donations if there are some still left over. So again, filming some of that sort of hopefully interesting content. So I'm going to ramp up with that soon, but next Friday, new yarn shop opening, and they're having like a formal open day, so I'll be going to that next Friday, and I'm going to film all the rest of the yarn shops on the same day. Oh, I'm so excited. It's been a long, I did it once already, but one of the yarn shops was moved, then we've got a new one, so it felt time to re-update that video. Okay, let's jump ahead and do something new, and then I'll come back to a work in progress. So here's another Strikke Feber bag. I can't stop buying these bags. So you know how, maybe you don't know, there's kind of a concept of like a shower thought, you know, like a daft thought you have in the shower, like an aha moment in the shower. And I have aha moments a lot of the time, which often are not actually aha moments, they're usually slightly ridiculous thoughts, but this one actually happened in the shower, which is slightly odd. But with my, oh no, I forgot one more thing, sorry. With the Insh, with the Henley, both the Henleys, this one and the other one, there will also be a stockinette version and a round neck version. So my stockinette round neck is going to be in this yarn, which is Fibre Company Lower. I think it's going to look so good with my other samples, and that's going to be stockinette. And then there will be a half fisherman's rib round neck, which I think is going to be a sample knit, because I don't think I can squeeze it in. I think 3 samples by myself might be acceptable, and I might just get that one sample knit by someone. If you're interested, let me know. And it's also going to come in 2 different fit options. It's going to come in fit 1 and fit 2. I was speaking to Andrea Gone this week, who is a knitwear designer, who has decided to add 2 fit options to all of their patterns. One fit is graded against a woman's size chart and one fit is graded against a men's size chart, but to remove like gendered terms, it's fit 1 and fit 2. And I reached out and asked Andrea about using fit 1 and fit 2 as a concept as well for this pattern. So Insh is going to be graded, and I think I got the impression that from when I started sharing about it that a lot of people were like, oh, I'd love to knit this for my partner, my dad, etc. And I usually have quite a lot of my patterns are pretty male friendly, or like male body type friendly. So there are male testers in Creole, there are male testers in Afric test knits, but with this one I really wanted to consciously add 2 different fit options, and so that will happen for this one. So it's going to be huge. I realised this the other day that usually there will be 10 sizes, and then there are going to be 4 options. So there's going to be Henley stockinette, Henley half fisherman's rib, round neck stockinette, round neck half fisherman's rib. If there's one person testing each of the styles per size, that's 4 testers per size, which is fine. That probably works because they are similar sizing. And then I have 2 fit options. That's going to be an 80-person test group. That's going to be huge, huge, absolutely huge. Anyway, that's completely utterly off topic, but that's part of that. And that'll be my next test call, which I think is the end of September. I think is when that one's going to testing. Again, because there's going to be men's sizing, it's going to be a longer test because that's going to be a bit more knitting. I feel like I've thrown myself off, but that's okay. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I am a little bit unhinged this afternoon, that's why. So I was thinking about how the Inch is going to have a stockinette and a half fisherman's rib. And I love half fisherman's rib, but it's a chore. It's not... I love the rhythm of it, I love knitting it. I think it's like one of my favourite stitches to knit. But it's not very quick, and it can be a bit of an effort. I have another pattern in half fisherman's rib, which is the Lanark, which is probably one of my top 5 favourite patterns. I love that pattern. I love it because I think it's just, I'm so proud of myself for coming up with it and so proud of myself for making it work. And 2, I don't think the pattern went out perfect. And the test knit went very smoothly, but after the test knit there were some questions raised, not necessarily about the numbers, but like the way things were described. I saw it back and I added video, and like within the first year it had to be like 2 or 3 updates, and now all the tester feedback's been absorbed, and I really think it's a very strong pattern, and I really love the fact that I kept changing it and like improving it. So all I have to say, I love the Lanark. I have 3 of them, and I was thinking if I could make Inch, stockinette and half fisherman's rib, I could add stockinette version to the Lanark pattern. So I cast it on. This is obviously like, this is relatively at the bottom of my pile in that like I have no deadline for this, so it's getting some work, but it's not getting loads, and everything else that has a deadline is getting done faster. But I only cast this on recently, and I'm making my way through the collar sort of slowly but steadily. I'm using a glorious combination of yarn, which are both burnt orange knitting for olive in the merino and the silk mohair, and they are pretty orange. Like burnt orange is pretty accurate. And this is where I'm at with this so far. So the collar, I had to go back and watch my own videos for this because it's been so long. This is you work a Judy's Magic cast on, which means that it's a funny little cast on where you like, it feels a bit like, do you know that game like Cat's Cradle? It feels like that, you're playing that when you're casting on. And so you end up with loops on 2 needles, and then you start knitting one of them and the other ones you leave on hold. And so that's how the collar works, and then eventually what I'll do is once this is long enough, I'll fold it together, and then I'll like knit 2 together all the way along the row, and you end up with this double folded collar. Really fun way to do things, but again my brain was just like, what? How did I do this? I had to sit with in complete silence for 15 minutes and just focus completely on casting on, and that's what I did. I think Sam must have lost his phone because I could hear his like alert noise going on Find Your Phone. Okay, so there we go. So it's looking really good, but like I say, it's not very much. It's maybe 8 centimeters. I think the collar has to be, I think I'm gonna make it like an 8, I can't remember, I'm gonna make it an 8 centimeter collar or more. I've written the whole pattern already, or at least I've written, I'm quite bad for writing to the next section, and then like I stop and start working through that section, so I've definitely written enough to keep the collar finished. And I'll make the collar the same depth as the Lanark, so that's something I can refer back to. So yes, and I might also, if I'm going to put the time and effort into testing a second fit of this, which I'll definitely have a test knit if it's going to be a different stitch pattern, I might also try and do a fit 1, fit 2, because Lanark, a lot of people have done it for men. My brother has got one which I knit to pattern for him and it fits him perfectly. But I might see what the difference would be in the sizing if we have him fit 1 and fit 2 as well. So yeah, that's looking so good. And again, I think this is going to be in my colour zone. I need to get this finished in time for like pump. That's the thing, like I want to have this ready for September. But I want to have everything ready for September. But like pumpkins, imagine going anywhere near a pumpkin. Dressed like a pumpkin. Oh, I'm so excited. I wasn't honestly entirely sure I've got enough yarn. I think I have 6 balls of each. I checked the... So half fisherman's rib eats yarn. Not as much as brioche. But half fisherman's rib is basically like half brioche. It's also called half brioche. It's like brioche on one side and plain rib on the other. And so it just consumes yarn. And that's why it's so squishy and lovely. But I wasn't sure I had enough of this yarn. It was yarn and stash. And so I actually checked the Petite Knit Zipper Sweater Light, which is the same gauge because it's Stockinette. Sorry, because it's Stockinette, because it's DK and Stockinette. And according to that pattern, for approximately the size, my sizes don't match up perfectly to her sizes because it's a different pattern, but I have enough yarn based on her sizing of the zipper sweater. So I think I have enough yarn. That was my take. I think they're both 20 stitch gauges. I didn't check the row gauge. I probably should have. Oh well. So yeah. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's also on a really fun like portable stage right now, where it's all just like just knit and go, which is really lovely. And it is one of the yarns that feels nice. Like it feels very smooth on my needles. And I want to work on this, but I shouldn't work on this. I should work on my sleeves first. And unfortunately, yeah, it just keeps getting to the bottom of the pile because it's not really a priority. When I have a lot of projects that are in the same stage like they are right now, I'm saying this out loud and thinking I sound a bit daft, but I have a note on my notes app on my phone with usually like the next 6 weeks planned out, and I don't always have this, only when I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. And I, for each week, have a list of the things I should get done that week. And it'll be silly things like 10 centimetres of X or like 1 stripe of Y or whatever. And so maybe that's what I need to do now, is start, because otherwise I get carried away and then I just knit. I'll knit till I finish the Firth, or I'll knit till I finish this. But then there's a sweater gone off my needle, so then I can cast on a new sweater. So maybe I will not do that, and maybe I'll do something else. Maybe I'll just get myself, like, maybe I'll finish the collar this week, and then the back next week, you know, and then the front's the week after. And maybe that's how I'll slowly but surely work my way through this pattern in order to have it ready mid-September. It has to be early September, mid-September. Okay. Oh, this worked out really well. I didn't plan it this way, but the way our projects are going to line up is actually going to be perfect. So this is actually in a bag that's too small for it, and I freed up some bags today, so there might be some bag shuffling. This is my Apollonie. I completely forgot. I was like Aristotle. I was like, it's not Aristotle. That is not what it's called. I got this bag sent to me back when I said yes to people sending me things, and honestly I would say yes to this bag again because I love this bag so much. And they've kind of stopped they don't make the same fabric anymore. They make the same bags, but the fabric is gone, and honestly the fabric is the best thing about this bag. But it's going to have to get moved up now because it's too small. But that's okay because I bought a new bag as well. I bought 2 more stick fiber bags, so. Okay, this is called Ariundle. Oh, that's where that stitch marker was. I lost a beautiful stitch marker, but it turns out it was just in the bag the whole time. I dropped my yarn on the floor. Okay, this is Ariundle. I showed this last time, but I'd not even finished the yoke. I'd only done like 2 repeats of the yoke pattern, so the body is now done. So I had a lot of, this is my swatch. Oh, it's all the way over here, you can't actually see it. No, it's too far away. Oh well. I got really into this about, okay, here's another swatch example of it in the yarn I just showed you. I got really into this stitch pattern. It is a 2x2 rib with these like crossing over, it's basically like, it's kind of cabling, I mean it is cabling. It doesn't feel like a cable, but cables are cross stitches. So technically it is cabling with 2x2 rib. And I just got so into the idea of this like growing over the course of a yoke. So I knit a big swatch, which is, oh, you also can't really see it. It's over here. This is a fun swatch. I don't usually knit a swatch this big, but I really wanted to test out the increases and made sure they made sense. So I knit this swatch. And it felt very like botanical, a little elven, a little Lord of the Ringsy. And so I finished the yoke, and I think it looks quite different with the third bit added in. This is where we're at right now. So I blocked it, I think, like midway through this stripe, but I've not actually blocked the whole yoke yet. So it's lying, it's not lying, like the last ribbing just isn't lying super flat. I gave it a quick steam lock, but I don't think it's lying quite as flat as I hope it eventually will. It's showing really well. I keep taking pictures of it, and it shows up in pictures like this colour, like a yellowy colour, and it is actually green. It's a mossy green. It's called Fellside. The only issue that I have done is that my short rows are uneven, which I can't tell, so I keep flicking my hair off my face and it's probably annoying. I can't tell that they're uneven when I'm wearing them, but I can see it if I look at it flat, which is really annoying. So I think I must have just worked one more on one side than the other side, and yeah, I can count the rows on one side and it's off. The short rows are built into the yoke, built into the collar, which I think is quite nice. And yeah, just look at that. Oh, I love it so much. So the rest of the body is just plain, and it's just 2x2 at the bottom. I think I will do this like cross cable again on the sleeves. And if a knitter wanted to add to the body, they could, but for me it's a little bit much, so I'm just going to make it nice and simple for this one. And oh, there's a raglan shaping under the arm. You can see it right there. I think you can see it right there. There we go. You see that raglan? Firstly, that is going to be tucked under the arm, so you're not really going to be able to see it, but it is in pattern. That is because my discovery earlier this year with my Kintra is that round yokes, and I think people talk about this a lot, people are like, oh, I can't wear round yoke sweaters, like round yoke sweaters don't fit me. Round yoke sweaters are just really hard to fit, and you so often end up with too much fabric at the top of the arm, for one, and then like too much fabric, I see this a lot, too much fabric at the back of the body under the yoke. A lot of the time that block, like sometimes if it's colour work or if it's texture, that's just a case of it blocking out, but a lot of the time it's just that there's too much fabric there, and it's because in order for it to get big enough that it can like fit here, like find the bulk of your shoulders, you end up with too much fabric at the top of the arms. It doesn't fit right, because you're having to, with a round yoke, you're not really staggering, you're doing, say you're doing an increase like knit 3 increase 1, knit 5 increase 1, knit 10 increase 1, but like the rate of increasing is the same all the way through the yoke. But at the end of this day, what you need is fewer stitches on your arms and more stitches on your body usually. And it's also much harder to grade for multiple sizes, because you end up with some sizes where it might fit okay and some sizes where it does not fit well at all, because you're stuck to that like way of grading. So way back when I did Kintra, I messaged my tech editor and I was like, listen, I am not feeling good about this last 10 centimeters of the yoke. It just feels like too much fabric. Like, what is the solution? She was like, oh, we can add raglan. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. And I thought about it, and I think about the ranunculus is a great example of this, a very, very well-known pattern, and it is finished off with raglan increases. And I've knit that pattern twice, 3 times. I actually knit a version. One of my first knits, and the short rows are offset. So the short rows obviously should not be, they should be like, there's a little bit at the front, it's not really short rows, but it's like stockinette. So a little at the front and a wedge at the back, except mine are over the shoulders. So there's like a big wedge of short rows here and a little wedge here, and my mum has that sweater. She's never noticed. And I didn't notice until after I gifted it to her, so I probably snorted there. So yeah, that was my interesting first, before I knew what I was doing, let's say. That was pre-podcast days, I'm pretty sure. I don't even think that was on the podcast. So yeah, oh, it looks so good. And I was going to say, I don't think this colour is going to suit me, because it's not in my colour zone, but I think last time I mentioned that I might look like a Celtic goddess if I wear this, and I think I might. The hair, very like intricate braiding. I love it. Oh, it's been tucked away in a bag all week because I've been focusing on other things, and now it's just making, I want to knit on everything I'm working on right now. I was talking to an amazing yarn dyer, Woolen Twine, I got that right, who's from Germany, who I've met a couple of times at Woolly Gathering. She's come twice now, and she messaged me today and was like, I think my entire winter wardrobe is just going to be your patterns, like everything you're knitting right now just feels like such a vibe. And I thought, you know, that's lovely, firstly, thank you, that's a huge compliment, but like I really feel like I'm in a zone this winter. Like everything I'm knitting I'm very, very into, And usually I'm always into everything I knit, but like I'm not always as obsessive, and I feel like everything I'm knitting like the same person would wear. It makes me think about like Project Runway. You're like, who's the girl you're designing for? Who's the person I'm designing for? I don't know, me, always, but yeah, I feel like I'm the same. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's all vibey. So yeah, that's where we're at. So it's all plain, it's all ribbing, so like either 2x2 rib or 1x1 rib. There's, because of the way you increase, ultimately like you increase either a knit or you increase a purl, and so there are some places like here you have 2x1 rib, and the neckline also has some 2x1 rib, but for the bulk of it it's a 2x2 rib pattern, and it fits really really well, which is also really nice, which I can't really show because it's in a bit of a state of progress, but there we go. I need to get this written up. But there's no huge urgency, but I do have a deadline from my tech editor as to when to get this written up and sent to her, so I should do that after my taxes. It's currently in a bit, it's not really in a state, but it's currently in the most like chaotic, like row 1 do this, row 2, like it's really written out line by line, and I'd like to chart it, but it's kind of hard to chart. Again, I'll ask her for some advice on this, but usually with a round yoke, unlike with a Kintra for example, you increase either side of the chart, so that it's like it's a wedge. So you start, or like a pizza slice, and you start with a few number of stitches and you increase all the way out. The problem with this one is I'm not increasing at either end of the pattern the whole way. I'm increasing like in the middle and then on the outside and then here and then here to do. So I don't think it's going to grow like a wedge without it being really complicated. But again, I think people quite often prefer having charts to written instructions, so that's what's currently holding me back. This yarn is glorious. This yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners BFL DK. I also always feel like I'm speaking in code because it's WYS BFL DK. It's like a special secret knitter language. This is the colourway Fellside. I saw this on someone else's Instagram. I'm pretty sure Skeiny Dipping, who is a really cool designer, who had an issue, a pattern in the same issue as like Pom Pom. Way back when I was at Rhinebeck. They also had that, the edition came out around about that time. And I follow her on Instagram, and she posted a cable knit in this yarn, and I bought it on the spot, and then it was in stash for a while. Again, waiting for the perfect pattern. And as you will see in a moment, I did a lot of swatching for this tech. Like there's a lot of swatches next to me. And I did what I rarely do, which is I just got the same yarn in a different colour for the second sample. And I don't usually do that because I usually like to show variety, but there are a couple of reasons which I'll get into. The first though is that it's cheap. Well, it's not cheap. It's cheaper, it's pretty well priced commercial yarn. I think it's £13 a skein, which honestly, I think this pattern will use 4 maybe 5 skeins, which means it's about £60, which for a hand knit sweater is, I think, exceptionally reasonable. It's so lovely to work with. Like this is just, it's soft and it's a BFL. It's also got the most glorious like luster to it that I just love. BFL is hands down my favourite fibre. I'm slowly but surely coming to realise that everything I love is got BFL in it. My Laxtons has also got BFL in it, so it's not a massive surprise. But yeah, it just feels so glorious. So I got the colour Granite, which is like a rich grey blue, which would be sample 2. And this pattern is called Ariundle, which is the name of an ancient oakland forest, which I think this looks like. Somebody told me it looks a bit like a cathedral, you know, and I definitely get that one, and I think I'm going to show you in a minute, it looks even more like a cathedral. But I also think it looks like tree roots and like all like tangled up trees. I love it so much. I'm going to leave this out of the bag because I need to put this in a larger bag. But yeah, that is my Ariundle. And also, what a lovely word. And it sounds like something out of Lord of the Rings. Like, you just, like, you're at Rivendell and then Ariandle's right next door. Right? That could be a thing. Okay, let's have a brief interlude before my next project to talk to you about my swatches. So, I love the stitch pattern of the Ariundle so much that I wanted to keep using it. And I'm finding right now that I really can like draw a thread through a lot of my work where like details carry over or like instructions carry over. And this is the most obvious that's ever happened, which is I was like, I love that stitch, I want more of that stitch. And I'm going to show you what it looks like because I think it looks so cool. but I could not work out what yarn to use, and this is the testament to that. It also happened in a week where I was feeling frantic, like incredibly overwhelmed, not really the word, just like I could not settle into anything. I was all over the place. I bought so much yarn. Like, I think I bought like 6 sweater quantities in a week because I just couldn't work out. I mean, the smart thing to do would have been order a skein of each, but like I wanted it here and knit, and anyway, it will get used / it will go to someone who'll use it. So like, I'm not mad about the yarn purchasing, but it was just an indicative factor of me just being erratic for a week. Luckily it settled down. Actually, it got so bad that I cut out coffee. I did not drink coffee for 3 days. I didn't touch alcohol for 3 days. I just made sure I was like vegetables and sleep. And that's what we're focusing on. And outdoors, I went for a walk every single day. It worked. But I really wanted to work on this, and I just could not work out the yarn. So I'm going to start off with a formal apology to some yarn I talked about last time. And that is as you can see, I've done a lot more swatching with this one skein because there's now very little of it left. This is Merona from Ritual Dyes. Last week, I was like, oh, it's one of those yarns that's between a commercial and a hand dyed. It's not, it's fully hand dyed. So there is my apology. It just looks so good, and their products look so slick that I assumed it was, they have like a fixed range, so they're not changing their colours and it's always in stock. So I just kind of assumed that it was then commercial. It's not. It's absolutely not. It's hand dyed in our studio in Portland, Oregon. So I commented on the fact that it was really quite pricey, which I had no one forced me to buy it. I bought it myself. But for it being hand dyed, I think the value, like the price is much more than valid because it's not a commercial yarn weight at all. I bought a sweater's quantity of this. That is where we started, and that is what I planned to knit the Ariundle in. And I started the yoke in it. And I just wasn't feeling this, I wasn't feeling the stitch definition. Again, I'm going to show you this, and it's going to look good from a distance. And then up close, it just did not look, it just looks really neat, untidy, and not very neat. I gave it a second chance even. The yarn I went with is very similar in colour, so I'm trying to make sure I'm picking the right one. Gave it a second chance and swatched it again, and again, like, it just looked really a bit messy, and it wasn't giving the crispy texture I wanted. And this pattern is all about crispy texture. So we rolled out that yarn. What else did we try? We tried 2 of this. I swatched it for a second time, even though I swatched it for the first time, I forgot. I tried some Laxtons Wool Trace, another type of Laxtons yarn. Not, in my opinion, I don't like it as much as Sheepsoft, but I love Sheepsoft. This is just not quite as, it's nice, nothing wrong with it, but not, I'm not singing its praises in the same way as Sheepsoft. So then I tried it in both of these. Yeah, it was alright. It held texture pretty well, but it didn't really quite get a gauge for me. It's a little bit gapey. And then this is the green version. Again, I quite liked it, but it wasn't calling to me. What did we try next? We tried the lower, which I'm now going to use for the Insh sample. Thought it'd be really good for texture, and it just was not. Again, alright, not quite there. I had a very clear image in my head, which is what I'm suddenly coming to realise, is that I'm looking at these again and thinking these are actually all fine. I did like this a lot. This is the Knitting for Olive burnt orange, I mean for the Lanark. Under gauge for one. I could have got up a needle size, and I really wanted to use it for the Lanark. Like, I knew I wanted to knit that, so I didn't really want to use it for something else. What else did we try? Oh, there's more lower in a different colour before the lower arrived, and I thought, it's okay, we'll see about the other colour. Still not sold. Random skein of yarn in my stash. It's not a random skein. I bought it from a shop, but it has no button bands and it's commercial, but I don't know what it is. So it's hard to knit design with it because it is an unknown DK. It is lovely though, and it's a good contender actually. I do like it. So, but it's hard to design with now because I can't tell you what the yarn is, which as a designer is a bit of a pain in the bum. Woolly Knit DK on a cone actually worked quite well, but the colour was just way too dark for what I was looking for. Loading green is lovely, but yeah, not quite there. We're still going. Scout by Kelber Mullins and Germantown by Kelber Mullins. This is Germantown, actually really lovely, quite nice. Not quite the fabric I wanted, and Scout didn't really work at all. It's not a very consistent spin, which I think looks like that fills out fabric in a really nice way, but it didn't really work for this texture in the same way that I wanted, not quite the crispy lines. but I like this colour, so I'll use it for something else. John Arbin actually worked really well. Really nice texture. I got the stitch pattern wrong, but it worked. And then we ended up with Cascade. And are we surprised? Yeah, this is like a solid 5 minutes of me showing swatches. I hope you're having fun. This is the first one, just some random Cascade, and then this was the Cascade in the colour Ginger, and this was my absolute, like, yeah, that is what I was looking for the whole time. And I think it's quite funny because this is where I started, which is the Verona, and this is where I ended, which is the Cascade. Spot the difference. And honestly, the difference is subtle. I do think the Cascade just is a slightly cleaner texture. I feel like an optician right now. A or B, red or black, green or red, is that how it works? But you can see them when they're held up, that the Cascade does have the cleaner, the lines are cleaner. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk on swatches. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 swatches for this pattern, but it was worth it. And I'll say this changed, and I even ripped it. This is just the back panel, and I'm not even finished the back panel. I ripped this out maybe like 4 times this week and restarted it because it wasn't really giving what I knew it was in there. I just had to get it right. I think I got it right. So it has the texture, and then it has these little cables. Oh my goodness. So like, obviously this is, I mean not obviously, but I think it's cool because this is the stitch pattern where it came from, and like this is where it's gone to, and they're definitely like, they're like siblings, like cousins, they're related, but they're not the same. They ended up being quite, I thought they would be more similar, but adding this little cable detail here really changed this. So I think it ended up quite different. So I'm now obsessing over this, even though I should not be, because there's no need for this to be done anytime soon, and yet all I want to do is knit on the pattern. And being both sort of a cable and a 2x2 rib, I know it's going to change a lot, so I think I'll give it a steam block today and just see where it's going. I'm at the point where I think I'm ready to do some underarm increasing, and it's relatively straightforward. It looks incredibly, I think it looks very intricate. It's actually fairly straightforward, but I do need to just be considerate about the underarm increases and make sure that they work out in the right way. But I'm obsessed. I love it. So yeah, I think I want the second one to be in some kind of like mohair off-white colour. And this I'm going to call for, now I'm calling it Taynish, T-A-Y-N-I-S-H, which is another ancient forest in Scotland. So I thought it would be like, again, tangential to Ariundle. My current plans is that they will come out together next year, early next year. But if I have no ideas for February, I'll push one of them back to February. Well, I think this is probably a February pattern. If I've got no idea for March, I'll push it back to March and do them in separate months. But currently I'm planning to release them together as 2 separate patterns at the same time. Oh my goodness. I just keep stopping to admire it, which is always a sign of an interesting project. So yes, that's everything on my needles right now. And the Cascade that I'm using. So yeah, we've got some busy needles. There's a lot going on. There's been so much swatching this week. Not even those 18 swatches, another 18 swatches. But it's good. It's all fun. It's very exciting. I love this point in the projects. I love when I'm this ahead of things, and also everything just feels fun and relaxing, and you can rip out because you know something better is there, but there's also no pressure, and like, yeah, I just love it. It makes me happy. It's probably a good thing that I do what I do. I think that is about it in terms of my projects. Again, like I said, I've got yarn acquisitions, but I don't think there's much point in me going through all of it because there's so much, and I'll show you all at some point soon anyway, when it's all my needles. I will be back next week with a little yarn shop tour, and then back for the podcast, and I've got a few other things coming up. Things that I've got in plan, yeah, so yarn, like a de-stash video, a sweater organising video, some video essays around some like influential knitters that I'd like to cover, and if anyone's got any sort of longer form content that you'd like to see from me, you're very welcome to drop below and I'll add it to my list. this video is already quite long, and my plan was if it wasn't too long I would add in some content from our most recent walk, but I think I'll do it anyway. So I'm gonna go now, but if you want to see a little bit of a walk that we did Mohair and Insh, which are 2 Monroes in Glenclova, so sort of the north, sort of the west-ish side of the Cairngorms, and there's a beautiful part in it called the Corrie Fee, which is a stunning corrie. So I took some video, I'll put it at the end, but if you don't want to watch any of it, that's totally fine. I just thought it'd be nice to include. And I'll be back next week with some yarn shops, and the week after with hopefully some finished objects and probably some new things on my needles, because I can't seem to quite control myself at the minute. Hope you have a great week. Thanks for joining me. It's not actually where we're going up. We're going up that one, and one that's behind you. We're at Arandal, I believe. A lot of forestry work going on. We're getting some gentle incline in, and then got a steep section. We're at the corrie. I think this is going to be pretty epic. Oh, holy! What? This is the steepest part. I don't like steep parts, but the view is pretty good. And that's a go. We have made it to the top of the first Monroe, and in true Scottish fashion, there is complete cloud cover. I can't see anything. It was a hard one. It was rough, but the cairn is there. So that marks the peak. There's a lot of walk to the second one, a little bit more incline, but hopefully most of the hardest work is done now. We're walking through the cloud cover, and we know that there's a second hill ahead of us, and we couldn't see it. And then this happens. The clouds just rolling off of it, bringing a little bit of rain. No filming in the interim because we got soaked. Very, very, very wet. I still have some very wet feet, very wet trousers. But we're finally almost finished the descent. We've got a pretty cool view to finish off.